Turn that shit up, man.
Keeping it fantasy, what's your football fantasy? 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 You come home after a long day, you need football in your life the TTNL way. You tap on your phone after fantasy play. Pause, not like that before you take it the wrong way. You have an idea what players to draft, then tap on a beer like genuine draft. Study all the players, look close at the stats. A QB first, then a top running back. First you hear Cool Kennedy audio, then on your screen you see Jackle, Alvin and Claudio. It's a take, never lies production. They keep it fantasy with Ivan's porno production. Keeping it fantasy, what's your football fantasy? Keeping it fantasy, what's your football fantasy? Keeping it fantasy, what's your football fantasy? Keeping it fantasy, it's a football fantasy.
Yo, this is Claudio the Barber, and this is Keeping It Fantasy, baby. Week 1, we're here. We made it. Let's bring on the boys. We got the man, Chris Jackal.
Hello, Claudio.
Mr. Ivan Vargas.
What's up, boys?
What's up, bro? That was smoother than I thought it was gonna happen.
Yeah, it was roughly smooth.
All right.
Yeah, it got through. There's some whiskers in there. Well, what's going on, guys? First week is a wrap. I'm happy to be here again with you guys.
Yes.
It should be fun talking about this weekend. I know we have, as Bears fans, we're happy, but there's a lot of happy fans around the league, a lot of happy fantasy owners around the league, and I'm one of them. Like I'll tell you what, I'm one of them. There's a lot of people out there that were a little bit worried. I know Jackal was mentioning there's been a lot of movement in some of the waiver wires and stuff like that. A lot of people panicking to start the season, but me, I had a little panic, and then Josh Allen just wiped that all away, washed it all away like the rain on Sunday here in Chicago. But guys, like, happy to be here. How are you guys looking? How are you guys taking the first weekend? I mean, what did you guys feel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in 4 leagues. Sadly, I only won in the TTNLs, which is most important.
Congratulations.
But yeah, I mean, it's week 1. Listen, you can't know what's going to happen after week 1 with these players. There's always going to be, some of these players that are duds and that are going to have great years. And so you can't get too crazy. Don't start dropping, crazy people that you drafted high. Don't, just slow your roll. But no, I mean, it's week 1. It was fun. I mean, football's back. I mean, there was some great games, some great plays and great players this week that came out of nowhere too. So that we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Chris,
I agree, man.
Yeah,
I agree, Claudio. There was definitely some great plays and some great players. Week 1 was here. It was awesome. I mean, shit, if you didn't win at least one game this weekend, I feel for you. I only won a couple at all my leagues, dude. So I took a drubbing. And yeah, sorry, Gonzo. Somehow there's no IR spot in our TTNL league. So it's
what's up with that?
I was game, and that was a default setting, to be totally honest. And
really?
I didn't realize, no IR spot. So when somebody said it today in the chat in the league, I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
I want my money back.
Hey, you can get it. Hit up Ivan. Ivan's got it.
I don't have it.
No, but you're right, man. It was a great fucking week, and surprises already. It's week 1. People are panicking. We have people dumping tons of money into FOB already. People are fucking scouring the waiver wire for quarterbacks if they're trying to stream one, and we'll get to that. But I think we got a lot to talk about today, man. There's definitely tons of fucking fantasy news, lots of stuff to break down. And I don't know, where do you guys want to get started?
Let's go. Who was your? Let's go the negative. Let's get the negative out of the way. Who was your guys'
first?
Who were the duds of the weekend for you guys? I know there were a lot of them. I have a couple. I want to start with Jackal, though. We'll stay with you, and then we'll rotate Claudio, and then I'll go last.
I mean, I'm going to say for value, I felt like Christian McCaffrey was a giant dud. I think he had like 15.5 points, 15.7, depending on what type of league you had. But it just, I expected a lot more with somebody you're taking with one of the top 4 or 5 picks. It's not that he played, like I said, he didn't play bad. He just didn't see that much action. He had 10 carries. I expected him to get a little bit more, but then again, the game against the Browns, Baker was trying to do his thing. Who knows? But to the point of 10 carries with 33 yards, he had the 1 touchdown and he caught 4 passes, but I expected more out of him, man. So he was a guy that I counted on my dud list. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to kick it over to Claudio to see if there's a guy that, you felt shit the bed.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go with a lot of other people's first round running back pick. And one of mine, Austin Eckler.
Okay.
Yeah, 36 yards receiving and 36 yards rushing is not going to cut it. I mean, again, don't panic. I'm not panicking, but he was a dud, obviously, for this week. I was hoping to get a lot more out of him. But now with Keenan Allen sidelined, now you're going to see, I think, some more action going his way. But, yeah, so he was a big dud.
Ivan, what are you feeling?
There's a couple people I want to go to. I got 2 in particular. I know we're gonna hit one more dud, but I'll go ahead and clear both of mine out of the way so we can just get this thing rolling.
I like it.
Number 1, Cole Kmet. I don't want to stick on the Bears. I don't want to pick on the Bears. Cole Kmet.
He's in my lineup in TTNL.
I gotta see more. Gotta see more. I know Chris Sandlin that I was playing against in the TTNL league. He had him. Big donut. Also at Notre Dame. Yeah. Just keep digging. And just keep
if they
digging
lose to Cal and start 0-4.
Shane doesn't give 2 fucks about.
I feel bad for Zoltan.
He's just here to make jokes. Right. Thank you, Shane. I love you, bro.
He's just recording shit and trying to get some good drops for.
God, I wish he was on in the background.
God, let's not. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah. Anyway. Cole Kmet with a donut. Not happy.
Awful.
Also, a guy on my team, and he was on the bench, granted, but he had an opportunity with Alan Lazard being down, and that's Kristen Watson. I think that, a lot of people were looking to him and Romeo Doubs being 2 young receivers. They got to be the next generation for the Packers. Fuck the Packers. But
fantasy-wise,
they're supposed to be the guys that are supposed to step up.
Yeah.
He had no clue out there, like a duckling, like a young pup. Still way green. And it was pretty embarrassing for him out there, dropping a touchdown pass, not looking at another. It was pretty bad. I want to go ahead with Kmet and Christian Watson, Bears and Packers, leading up into this weekend, which is going to be fun. But Chris, what do you think?
You picked 2 great ones, dude.
Yeah,
Ivan. I started Clement. I started Kmet. Chlamydia. I started Kmet in my dynasty league, and it hurt me. I did win Claudio and Ivan, and that was one of the 2 wins there. But I definitely felt we were going to see some production there. But he only had 1 target. And speaking of, Fields in the first round, was a run heavy offense in the first half, so they weren't throwing the ball around anyway. And then the second half, it looks like he wasn't doing it. It was just going with what we was comfortable with. So I think Komet's going to have a bounce back for week 2, but no, I'm with you on the dud, man. It was just a big stinker for him. But my other guy that I don't know, Claudio, if I'm going to steal your guy. But fucking speaking of a Packer that shit the bed, how about fucking Aaron Rodgers? 4.7 points, a giant fucking dud, Mr. 2-time MVP. People try to get him late thinking that, he may have some shitty wide receivers, but it's Aaron Rodgers. He can make anybody good. Well, guess what? He can't. And that hurt at 4.7 points on a day. And I don't know. They got the Bears coming in. That hits principle. We may lay some motherfuckers out and, give them another bad day, 2 in a row, or bad week, 2 in a row, and let's go. But Claudio. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers as my second dud.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. I mean, listen, I agree with Alex here. Allen Robinson, going way back to Thursday. It's like it was, a month ago. But yeah, I mean, he was obviously a dud. Two targets, 1 reception. The dude looked lost out there. I mean, I think obviously Buffalo, just shut them down, for the most part. But I mean, I think he'll rebound. But he was definitely a dud for this week. And then another one is my guy who I was high on, and I'm not obviously going to drop him. It's definitely not time to drop Dameon Pierce. But he was another dud. Pick
up Rex Burkhead, though.
Yeah, Rex Burkhead, definitely was getting
71% of the snaps.
So, you got to wait and see on Pierce. So I don't think it's time to drop him. I think if next week is similar touches for Rex, then maybe it's time to drop him.
Could you see that being like Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon from last year, where it just kind of they slowly assimilated him into the offense? And I agree with you. Just holding on to him is probably the smart play. Obviously, I mean, you may get someone to try to trade if you're a trade person. Someone you may be panicking after week 1. You may be able to actually steal him from somebody. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you, Claudio. Don't get rid of him. I think you're going to see a guy. But do you see that kind of happening for him?
No, I mean, I think. He's a rookie, so it happens sometimes with rookie running backs. Their blocking's not right. They're not picking up the right blocks. The timing. So maybe he's not getting the plays because of that. There's a lot of things. So again, it's week 1. It's hard to put a stamp on it and say this is that. This is what's going on. But yeah, I mean, obviously he was a dud. He was in my starting lineup. I'm sure he was in other ones. So that definitely wasn't good. But.
He's already 40 going into this weekend, so he's definitely not looking all the hottest in terms of projections for week 2.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
No.
Moving on to the happier side of things.
I'm
going to go back to Claudio. We're going to go to you, then we'll go back to Jackal.
Yeah, I'll just name off a few of them.
Who are your studs of the weekend?
Yeah, my studs. I mean, Cordarrelle Patterson. I mean, this kid. I mean, 22 carries. 120 yards, a touchdown, 3 receptions. I mean, this dude does what he does. I got him late in one of my drafts. People are sleeping on him. I mean, in Atlanta, it's not like he has a lot of competition over there. So I think he might be a guy that could be a consistent scorer. That was a great outing for him. And so, I mean, I then also have to go to A.J. Brown, who I did not sadly get in any of my leagues.
Me neither, man.
Yeah, I wanted to, but it just seemed like every time I was trying to get him, it just didn't work out. He got taken before me. But this dude was a beast. I mean, this dude was a beast on the Titans, and he was I think put up probably the top points for a receiver.
Okay.
10 catches on 11 targets, 155 yards. Dude had 66 yards after the catch. Only
my guy.
Only Justin Jefferson had more.
Yeah.
So the dude is
That's
right there with the top. So that dude is studding out for sure.
Okay.
And Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz.
Surprising.
Very
I'm trying
surprised.
to get him right now.
Surprised.
Don't tell anybody. I'm trying to pick him up.
Yeah, keep it quiet. Yeah,
I
nobody's
had
going to know that he had fucking 4 touchdowns, 300 yards.
Dude,
but I mean, again, this could be.
I mean, none of us are surprised. Like, don't get us wrong.
This is Carson Wentz's trajectory. It's like this. It's just fucking.
I mean, again, he hasn't been the most consistent quarterback his whole career, really. Before he got hurt, he was going off. But since he's been hurt, he hasn't been consistent. So, we'll see. I mean, I think he's definitely a guy you want to pick up and a guy you want to have to be able to start, when he has some good matchups, because he's got some ballers over there. I mean, those receivers are some ballers. Curtis Samuel, Dotson, and McLaren are fucking.
It's a nice
trio. Ballers.
Yeah.
I like his receivers. I just hope that it's not like I hope that their offensive line is able to hold up for him. I don't know. Carson Wentz is still a mystery to me. He had a great week, surprising week, great week.
Okay.
I know Jack was like, man, just shut the fuck.
No,
so I could pick him up.
Speak it into existence, because you're gonna make it happen for me. Just keep putting it in my way. I like it.
I like the idea of Carson Wentz having a bounce back year, like one of those. He has a good team around him, has a good defense. Looks like he has a solid running back in Antonio Gibson, and then when Robinson comes back, from that terrible, incident with the mugging, already off crutches, right? Yeah. ready to play. About 5 weeks. What did they say about week 6?
Yeah, they're saying if all goes well. So I was listening to someone the other day. He may come back a little earlier than that. That'd be amazing. But yeah, you're right. That's
right. I think all that benefits Carson Wentz in the end. I think, if you want to go ahead and take a shot at him, go ahead. I'm not going to. Like I'm not gonna. But if you want to take a shot at Carson Wentz, I think you have
I wouldn't spend a lot of.
He has a good team.
Listen, people that are new to Fab, you got to remember, you got 17 weeks. You want to space out your money that you have to spend on people. So, especially quarterbacks, and unless you got Dak, unless you need the guy that you're going to start, maybe you want to go with him and start him. I wouldn't spend a crazy amount of money if he's going to be your backup, right? I'm just saying.
I thought maybe you didn't hear what you were saying. Don't drop him yet. It's not time, Noah. You got to hang on just a hair, man.
Yeah, I would. I mean, listen, if you need to drop him because you can pick somebody up that you're going to start and you're going to play, then yeah, I guess you drop him. It all depends on your roster.
I would trade him before you drop him. At least get something.
You could try to trade, but if you don't get a trade in time and you really need somebody,
right?
Then maybe you drop him. But if
you
got a spot on the bench for him, I would leave him up.
Exactly.
If it's some type of keeper league, I mean, there's a different story. Like Pierce, a rookie wide receiver. You have Matt Ryan. I'm sure there's going to be a rough patch to start. I wouldn't go ahead and drop him right away. If he's, continues, there's this string week to week. By week 3, if he's not even involved or not getting you anything, maybe it's time to start thinking about dropping him. But like right away, week 1, I don't think so. I think you need to wait at least a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Jackal?
So Claudio, I agree, man. I'm with you. I like your duds here. But one of my guys is somebody that or my studs. I'm sorry, I said studs. Jesus Christ. That's what happens when I look at a word and you read what you see as opposed to say what you should say. It's fucking, that's why they call it dope. That's why they call it dope,
We need to smoke weed every day drop over here.
So, all right. I'm going to stay in the first round. Not in the first round, but first round production. Somebody that people were getting in the third round, and that's Saquon Barkley. I think Barkley had a fucking coming to Jesus day in the fantasy world, letting everybody know in terms of the NFL world is that dude's back. He had the most points out of the running game. He had 33.4 points, 164 rushing yards. He broke that run off, and I just said, okay, that looks like Saquon of like 2000. What's that? When did he not get hurt? Was it 2020 or 2019? I forget. But he was just a fucking monster. 18 carries. Fucking he had a tud. And I think, what did he have? 6 or 7 targets for 30 yards, man. He didn't disappoint at all. And you didn't take him in the first round. I'm hoping you didn't. But if you got him in the second, maybe in the third, that's fucking amazing value again. So if you had a backfield of McCaffrey and Barkley, if you made that happen, then you kind of, you're like, fuck. And then you're like, oh, yeah. So, it kind of evens itself out. But I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. And I think Michael Thomas is a guy to talk about. And Ivan, I don't know if that's a guy you want to talk about, but I didn't know if he was on your list. No. But I saw Chris Gonzalez talk about him in the chat here somewhere. And I do agree. He came back with a vengeance. People are questioning his value as well. He was a person that you were getting the 6th and 7th round, some even later than that. And he just had a monster of a day, leading almost outside of Justin Jefferson, who had, I think, the highest, him and Jamar Chase. And then, who was third, Claudio? Do you have that in front of you?
So Justin Jefferson had an average like about 30 points.
39.4 PPR.
The PPR 39. PPR standard.
Oh, that's right.
PPR.
Coop had that monster day on Thursday.
Justin Jefferson 39.4, and then you had Cooper Kupp 31.8. Devontae had 30.1, excuse me.
Okay.
And then you had what was the receiver you said?
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas.
Yeah, no.
Right here, Michael Thomas 22.7.
Yeah,
okay.
He was about 18. He was 19th in scoring.
I just liked it. He had 5. He had 5 catches on 8 targets. Getting looks early. He's caught balls. I think James. It's just good to see right off the bat, and it just made me happy. I kept him in a keeper league. I had drafted him while he was hurt last year, and I stashed him in like the 14th round. So I just held on to him, and it paid some dividends. Granted, I lost Claudio. That was the week. That was the game where the quarterback points didn't work in my favor. So I just want to put that out there that I lost with the 6-point quarterback. But if it was 4, I would have won. So shame on me. But I had Dak as my quarterback, Claudio. So anybody else, I would have won. But anyway, I digress. Yeah. Ivan, who you got, bud? Sorry. I was rambling.
No, it's all good. Just good stuff there. It's gonna be easier for me. I have a couple of them, but number one off the bat, Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen was a beast. He did have 2 interceptions, but what he was able to do and like just pretty much will the Bills to that victory with his leg. Did it with his legs, did it with his arm. And I know you know Gabe Davis.
Go gadget arm. He had a fucking go
gadget arm. Go gadget. Get the fuck off me. But yeah, it was great to see Josh Allen perform like that. I mean, he's just some type of special player, man. You know what I mean? Like you can't get, there's no way around it. He's just that dude. Josh Allen for me, he's what, 3rd in points, 2nd behind Mahomes in quarterback points for the weekend. So at 33.5, Josh Allen for me was a big one, big stud of the weekend. Another big stud of the weekend, Antonio Gibson, like I'd mentioned before. Surprisingly, yeah. You know, maybe there's some motivation there. You know, obviously the team is, I would imagine, is rallying behind their fallen brother and you know, in Robinson. I'm sure Gibson has some extra motivation. He's got to carry a load. You know, I think what the Washington Redskins are going to be is what the Chicago Bears kind of want to be. Okay. Not saying that Carson Wentz is Justin Fields, but I think they want to, you know, play tough defense, use the running game, you know, as the identity of their team, and let Carson Wentz kind of, you know, work with these receivers. I don't think they want to be this like downfield type of attack. I think they're going to do a good job of mixing it up. Maybe I'll be wrong and they suck ass, and you know, just like they do, you know, typically every year in the NBA. Well, yeah. I'll say it again. No, but just like they do, you know, typically every year. But this year's kind of different. I like the way he ran this weekend, though, no doubt. I thought the Jaguars, even though the Jaguars are struggling last year to stop the run, I thought they were, you know, I think they're going to be a better defense this year. So I was expecting a tougher day for him, but he killed it. He killed it. So Antonio Gibson for me is the second stud of the weekend.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, Deandre Swift, I think we should just throw on our list. Yeah. Deandre Swift showed that he's a PPR monster again. I know we talked about him last week, and he had 28.5 points, 15 carries, 144 rushing yards. He had 1 touchdown, 3 catches, I think. Yeah, 3 targets, 3 catches, 31 yards. So he had a day. The only thing to keep an eye on is Jamal Williams did get the goal line carries and had 2 touchdowns. And he's only rostered in like 20% of the league. So pay attention down the road. We may talk about that. But yeah, so yeah, DeAndre Swift, once again, PPR machine, just gives you those extra value points that, you know, has a great day rushing. And then you slap on another 6-7 points just on the PPR side. That's a beautiful thing, you know.
And that game itself was a great. I thought the Lions were dead in the water, and then all of a sudden here comes this team storming back, and they did that a lot last year. Yeah. But it's
different Swift story out of this offense. I think, Ivan. I feel like they got a little bit more. I don't know if it's they got some more skill players, obviously. Mm-hmm. You know, and when they get Jameson Williams back, I mean that's only going to help them out even more. But they could surprise some people. I mean, you know, speaking of just football, the NFC North is. You know, it's up for grabs, man. So.
Right, and you know, to mention, like, just sticking with the Lions, I'm on Ross St. Brown. He had about 20 points. Let me make sure I don't screw it up. Yeah, here we go.
Good.
20.4.
Good memory.
30th overall for the weekend in fantasy points. But yeah, they could be a different type of team. They could put up a lot of points on offense. I'm looking for Swift to put up a lot of points and St. Brown as well. Let's go to another negative, injuries. Injuries for the weekend.
They're back.
I'll kick it off. I'm gonna just so we can get him out of the freaking way. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys are really, really, really down this week. Yeah. Dak Prescott is out. I believe he has a fracture in his throwing hand, his thumb.
Am
I correct?
Out 6 to 8 weeks.
Out 6 to 8 weeks.
That is today,
Yeah, they just found out today. Jerry Jones is kind of Jerry Jones is a nut. I don't know what they're going to do with Cooper Rush. Maybe Cooper Rush is, he just kind of holds it together. But
they were fucked before he got hurt. The offense was god awful, dude. After all those guys got hurt.
Yeah, if I had CeeDee Lamb, I'd be a little worried.
Right
now.
I know he may be the one guy that may get some points, but I feel bad for Schultz owners.
He might get
the tight end is good, but they're gonna have to put him on the line to fucking block because this guy is. I mean, Elliott's got a block. They're screwed. They don't have any. I'm with you, Ivan. I mean,
he might get beat up. He might be a tired receiver come the middle of the season. And I feel like even Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup's coming off a knee injury.
Yeah.
That's not enough. And then now you don't have your starting quarterback, so now you're going to be working with Cooper Rush. I don't know who Cooper Rush is. Not going to fucking.
Yeah, but Elliott's fucked too.
But yeah, Elliott's not Elliott. You know what I mean? You're pretty much. You might as well go with Tony Pollard. I feel like.
Well, even though 8-man fronts. If you got Cooper Rush as your quarterback, just stack the. It's like the fantasy wise. You probably Claudio. You're right. It's definitely CeeDee Lamb is the only guy that has any value. But
and I think it drops. I really do think it drops now that Dak is going. Dak is that team. They invested the money in him. He is the face of the Dallas Cowboys, regardless of what other studs they have on that football team. Dak Prescott's the dude. He's supposed to be the dude there. And I think I really believe he's a good quarterback, but this is going to hurt everybody else on the team. All the skill positions on the team are going to drop significantly. So those of you who have CeeDee Lamb, both running backs, Schultz, all that's going to drop. Dak was a huge loss this weekend for the Dallas Cowboys and a lot of fantasy owners.
Yeah, he was the linchpin to that offense. I mean, for terms of fantasy relevance, you're absolutely right, Ivan. You hit the nail on the head. Claudio, I mean, any injuries that you fucking...
Yeah, I mean, it happened in our game. On the other team, though. Ooh. Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Out for, I think, 8 weeks at least.
He's on my team.
You have him?
You had him?
Yeah. I have him. He's on the bench now, but I have him.
So, I mean, that's huge, obviously. They're one of the better running teams in the league. But this actually kind of similar thing might happen with Jeff Wilson as happened with Elijah Mitchell last year because Mostert got hurt, and then Elijah Mitchell comes in and blows up. So, Jeff Wilson... we'll talk about waivers later, but I mean, Jeff Wilson's obviously going to be the number one.
He's not rostered anywhere either.
He's the number one pickup. He's an RB1 that everybody's wants.
In a Shanahan offense.
You need to have an RB1.
Yeah, in a Shanahan offense. That should be something.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the most significant. I mean, Dak is obviously significant too, but direct fantasy wise, I think that's the most significant. Yeah.
I got one that I'm not even sure if he's injured yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. And I saw it in the chat as well. But Alvin Kamara, he came out early on Sunday, and he was seen walking to the locker room like 5 minutes to go to the game, and he said he's ready to he can play. But I don't know, man. He practice wise, it's not looking all that hot. He didn't practice that much today. I'm sorry. And so someone to keep an eye on if he's going to play. I don't know if it's going to be a full load or a full share for him. But you're going to keep an eye out for his backup, and that's Mark Ingram, and I think that's someone that, he's only rostered, and I think in like less than 20% in ESPN or Sleeper. So it's someone to think about. But I thought Alvin Kamara coming out early, I have him in one league, gave me a big red flag. And that's somebody that I think you should definitely just look for possibly Mark Ingram as a guy to handcuff in the event that he does have to come out last minute, like a, game time decision or something like that. Cause that makes me a little nervous with what's going on with him. He was my injury concern for right now.
Another guy that was injured, Najee Harris. Harris was hurt on Sunday. It looked really bad. He came off hobbled, looked like he was favoring his knee a little bit. He was talking today in an interview, and he was pretty much confident that he's going to play or practice this week and play on Sunday. So those of you who saw the injury to Najee Harris against the Bengals on Sunday and had a heart attack because you just lost your number one pick, don't worry. He's going to be all right. He'll be there playing on Sunday against the New England Patriots. So, Najee Harris is all right. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's go ahead with starts and sits. Or do you want to hit the waiver wire? What do you want to do first?
We could do some starts and sits, talk about some guys, and then go to the waiver wire. I don't know. What do you think, Claudio?
Yeah, man. Whatever you want to do.
I want you to kick this off, man.
All right, let's go with the starts and sits. I'm going to go with my starts of the week, and I'm going to stick with that Pittsburgh Steelers team. I know TJ Watt is hurt, and he is going to be out for some time, although it's not going to be the entire season. I thought the Pittsburgh defense, and I believe the Pittsburgh defense has big-time playmakers on it. And I think that defense as a whole, as a unit, I think they might be, back to that Pittsburgh Steelers toughness type of defense, steel curtain type of defense that, they're accustomed to seeing. I may be wrong. I know TJ Watt going down is a huge blow, but looking at how the Patriots performed this week, I have Mac Jones and he was one of my, another, I guess, dud you could call it that I didn't put on there because I really don't want to shame him, but he was a dud. Like, he was a dud. The Patriots were a dud. The entire team was a dud on Sunday against Miami, and I feel like it's going to happen again this week because, like, the Steelers, especially if they had Najee Harris, the Steelers and how running the ball, their offensive line and their defense, along with Mitch just doing what he did this past weekend, I think they're going to be able to handle a Patriots team that looks like it's struggling on offense and on defense. So the Patriots always start off slow, especially on defense. So we'll see what happens throughout the season. Maybe I'll be wrong and, New England will win. But I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is a must start this weekend with how bad the Patriots looked last week. So that's one start I have. Another start I have, Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle against the Ravens. The Ravens gave up 300 yards of Flacco, and I know it was like it is the Jets, but he hit a lot of receivers in that game. Yeah. There was a lot of guys that caught a lot of passes. Granted, none of them were big time, down the field, but Jalen Waddle's a guy that just needs space. Just get him into space. That's, you throw it to him short or on a quick slant, get him into space. Maybe it goes for 50 yards. Maybe it goes to the house. I think Jalen Waddle against a Ravens secondary that I don't really trust yet. Like, I don't trust the Ravens defense as much. They struggled. A lot of young guys back there. They struggled last year. Maybe they're a team also that midway through the season turns it around. But I'm looking at Jalen Waddle as a guy next to Tyreek Hill that could rack in some fantasy points, especially beating up on number two cornerbacks, maybe even in the slot, beating up on the nickel guys. Okay. Yeah, I like Jalen Waddle. The last guy, Allen Robinson, strictly just because I think he's going to bounce back in this game. Okay.
I want to piggyback here, Jalen Waddle. You see the highlight of him catching that. I think it was like 4th and 7, and he took that ball 42 yards. It was just like, it speaks to your playmaking and the ability to get the ball in his hands and do something. Those are some great starts. Claudio, who do you got?
So, first guy, we talked about the Redskins, the Commanders before, and I think Curtis Samuel has to be a start. Okay. This dude, he had the most targets in that game, and he also had the second most rushing attempts. The dude is like, turning into like a mini Debo. Yeah. The dude is talented, and they're going against the Lions, and the Lions got, their defense got smoked by the Eagles, who have a very good passing attack. But I could see Curtis Samuel backing up week 1 with another good showing. So I would then also start Tyler Boyd for the Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins got hurt. It's another injury, and he's out. So Tyler Boyd is now probably, pretty much the number 2 over there. And they're going against the Cowboys. and I think they're going to have a rebound. I do. I think the Bengals are going to rebound from their bad loss in week 1. And the dude's a playmaker. So I think he'll get a lot of targets and a lot of chances. So what do you think, Jackal?
No, it's funny. I was reading some stuff about your guy there, and they were seconding your opinion. I think you pick some good starts. I think you bring some value with those picks, and people that are on the fence, I think that'll help, man. And I think that's definitely why we do this, to talk about, like Ivan picking a defense to go first. That's not, I was a little caught off guard, but dude, you're right. I had TJ Watt on my IDP. I think I was telling you guys about this weekend. We did IDP players. Before he got hurt, he had 16.5 points. That's just one guy. And the defense, I think as a whole, I had in another league. And I'm not going to say because I don't even remember. But if the one guy had 16.5, the lead defense, what was it? Do you remember what it was, Ivan? Like 26 points or 26.5? It was something staggering. So I just want to say, that's value. And if you can get 26 points out of your defense on a Sunday, that's going to give you just a better chance of winning.
It was 26. It was 26.
Okay. Yeah. So, it gives you just that opportunity at the end to win some fucking money. That's what we're trying to do here. Right. And so speaking of winning money, my guy, I'm going to go in the tight end realm, and I'm going to go with your theme, Claudio, of injured guys where other players need to step up. And I'm going to go with the tight end, Gerald Everett. Last week, he definitely took advantage. Once Keenan went out, he had a nice day. And I think going against Kansas City with an offense that's going to put up points, San Diego is going to have to throw the ball. If Eckler, they're going to have to move the ball. And what does that include? Is that working it to the tight end? And I think that just means points, more fantasy points for Gerald Everett. Another start that I'd go with, we talked about the other side. I want to talk about the other side of the ball, Juju Smith-Schuster. I think I like that matchup against Kansas City. I think he showed that, he's the biggest wideout for this team on the Chiefs. He showed last week that he's healthy. There was concerns about that going into the season. The knee looks good. Shoulder looks good. Like Jameis said, your elbows are your arms, knees, everything's symmetrical. Did you guys hear him say that? Your wrists are your ankles. Your elbows are your knees.
In Jameis's world, in Jameis's way, I get it. But yeah, that's wild stuff. Love Jameis. Eat some W's.
And speaking of James, he's a big dude. And so is my guy. So is Juju Smith-Schuster. And that is a recipe for disaster for the San Diego secondary. And I think that just speaks well for him and Justin Herbert. I look for him and Patrick Mahomes. And I expect him to have a better day than he had in week 1. And I'm looking at 20 to 22 fantasy points for him next week against the Chargers. So those are a couple starts that I have there. Off the top
I agree with you, Jack. Well, I think that game Thursday night's going to be a fantasy juggernaut, honestly.
What a great game, too.
Yeah. Amazon Prime don't fuck around. They know what they're doing.
Bezo bucks, baby. That gets you fucking real shit.
They know.
Not the Commanders and the Jaguars on Thursday night.
No.
No disrespect to Jags and Commanders fans.
It's funny. If we're a spliff, first of all, great fucking name. Second of all, I was about to, because he brought up Gerald Everett, Josh Palmer.
Yeah, he's on my list too.
This kid, and I remember hearing Herbert over the offseason talk, praise this dude and really likes this kid. So I think Josh Palmer is another guy that could surprise some people. And we're going to talk about waivers. So he might be somebody you want to pick up on waiver wire if he's available, which he probably is, because he could be a sleeper. So just want to add that in there.
No, I like Josh Palmer. Yeah. He's a wide receiver 54 already, and I think he just jumped up the board with Allen getting hurt, Claudio. And you're absolutely right. He still had three catches. Granted, it was only for 5 yards.
Yeah,
but
75% snap count.
Yeah.
So he was already in, and so now he's going to get even more.
Like Herbert said, he loves that dude, man. He during the preseason he was singing high praise of that guy, and I think Mike Williams gets more of the concern of the secondary, and Josh Palmer is a guy that's going to benefit him and my boy Gerald Everett. You know, I think I could see our two guys eating with them really focusing on, Mike Williams. So Claudio, I do like that. That's Josh Palmer's a great, and if we're a spliff, you're absolutely right, man. We love this cat.
The Arlington Bears.
Yeah.
Calling them the Arlington Bears. I really hope not.
Yeah, they're going to put two teams in Chicago, aren't they?
Yeah.
We'll leave that to tomorrow night.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No more Bears.
Just real quick, sticking with that Thursday game, a lot of big time names in that game. Thinking about the Chargers defense and how they're going to pressure Pat Mahomes, just worried about, maybe they get on the attack a little bit and get after him. I'm a little nervous for Pat Mahomes. It's not nervous enough to sit him, of course.
Okay.
You can't do that shit because that's insanity. Because it's Pat Mahomes. But going to sits, there's a couple of I'm gonna go with some units real quick because we want to keep this going. I'm gonna go with a couple units. I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys wide receivers, and I'm gonna go with the New York New York Jets running backs.
Yeah.
I just don't like the matchups going into next week. The Cowboys, well, first of all, because of Dak, but also because of the their matchup, and it's not their fault. It's just what it is. Like, you don't have a Michael Gallup that's 100% healthy. CeeDee Lamb's the only guy you got, but now he has Cooper Rush throwing to him and not Dak Prescott. I'm a little worried of the Cowboys wide receivers going into this week against the Bengals. So I'm going to go ahead and say sit them. The Jets running backs as well. I'm going to go ahead and say take a seat. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to go ahead and shut that thing down.
Yeah, look what they did with CMC.
Absolutely. I don't think they're going to fear Joe Flacco through the air. So I think they're going to shut down the running game and take that victory from the New York Jets come this week. So no running backs from the Jets, no receivers from the Cowboys. What do you guys think? Who you guys going to sit this week?
I mean, I got one guy I'll talk about, and I was high about him on him. And yeah, I think Travis Etienne was very disappointing.
Okay. Speak on it.
And yeah, I mean, James Robinson came in and got the lion's share of the carries. I mean, he had a couple drops that could have changed his fantasy perspective, but I mean, going against Indy, I think that D is it's going to be pretty good against the run, and I don't know. I think the Jaguars passing game is going to get better this year than in the past, but Etienne, just for me, I would hold off to start him just for this week and see what happens, because he did not impress, and that share the shares that James Robinson snaps it. Yeah,
it was 2-1.
James Robinson was getting them, so I would stay away from him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was expecting much more out of him as well. I didn't draft him because I was scared, but I was secretly like a fan of his. I wanted to.
Well, I loved him in college.
We
didn't see much of him obviously in the pros, and so I loved him in college. The dude's explosive, but this isn't a good sign. If he's 100% healthy and he's not getting the snaps and not getting the touches. So.
No, I agree. And Robinson looked good. I mean, it's not like Robinson was like shaky. I mean, he definitely, it speaks. I think, Claudio, that's a great choice, man. I definitely agree with you there, man. Anybody else on your list that you don't like, or?
Well, I was going to talk about CeeDee Lamb. I mean, we already talked about him. Ivan already said that.
Yeah. We talked about the Cowboys, right?
Yeah. The Cowboys. Okay. Off the top of my head, nobody right now.
All right.
But
I'm going to stay in the running back room though. I'm going to go with a couple of dudes. It might piss some people off, but I'm going to say stay away from David Montgomery. I would sit Montgomery. I think Khalil Herbert, who is going to be one of the top waiver wire additions this weekend, if he's not rostered in your league, I think you're seeing a shift in usage over there. And I think Khalil Herbert also getting some touches in the goal line just speaks to, what Eberflus or not even Eberflus, but Getsy and the boys are trying to do with that running back room. You're going to see an Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon type of situation. It's definitely already kind of shaping into that, that little – I mean, that's what we see right now, in my opinion. So I would stay away from Montgomery. I mean, he could still have a great day, but at the same time, I just think it's tough, man. I just, in terms of fantasy, I just see
You're gonna
Herbert.
have some explaining to do tomorrow night, bro.
Dude, you fucked up, bro.
You fucked up. You didn't think about that.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, I think you got great points.
You heard him, right?
You got great points. You got great points.
No, but it's just
you have
they're
good
playing
points.
Green
Somebody's
Bay.
not gonna give a fuck about your points.
I know.
We're talking about fantasy here.
Yeah, we are talking about
fantasy.
fantasy. You're right. No, you're right.
He's
You're
gonna
right.
start on Sunday. Like
I just think he's getting a raw deal. That's how I look at it.
Oh, see,
Ivan hung up on himself. No, but to the point of, I just think he's getting a bum fucking situation. Like I feel that Montgomery is producing with the touches. And Ivan, what'd you do?
I dropped out.
Couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, couldn't take it anymore.
Which,
that was his cue to get off of this subject.
Like, thank you. I read between the lines. All right. No. And my last one, we talked about the Cowboys, right? So I'm not going to bring up Elliott, but I'm going to say stay away from Rashad Penny. I just think with the style of offense that they need to run, they're going against San Francisco, a hell of a defense. I just don't see Rashad Penny being a guy that's going to get you the fantasy points you need. I'm a little nervous about that. So I would avoid those two running backs. If there's a wide receiver you're on the fence about, I mean, I still think the same thing goes for DK Metcalf. I just don't like the situation over there. They scored 17 points. If you watched the game last night, Geno wasn't exactly, he made some plays, right? But there's a reason he didn't start in the league for 6 straight years, or didn't start an opener or whatever the fuck the stat was. I heard them talking about all night, but I would stay away from DK Metcalf. I don't even know if there's a Seattle Seahawk that's worth playing in your roster right now. So those are those 2 or 3 dudes that we just rattled off. I'd probably stay away from right now.
All right. Let's jump into the waiver wire. I know we're
well, look at us.
We got some time, but we're good. We're pacing. Pacing along. We're pacing along.
Who would have thought?
Let's jump into the waiver wire. I'm just going to go direct. Jeff Wilson. Just because I had Elijah Mitchell as my starting running back. Like there's no other guy that I would imagine, and I'm going after him. I'm going for it. Like all the luck to me, but I'm going for him. But I would say Jeff Wilson for the 49ers. Okay. I know they have Deebo Samuel, but you can't, you need somebody else. And I like that trio of using Deebo, like they use Deebo. I like Elijah Mitchell and I like Jeff Wilson together. Now that they only have both of them, Jeff Wilson's going to have to step up, but he's definitely going to be a must sign for guys like you.
RB29, Shanahan offense. I just think, you're absolutely right, Ivan.
That situation's also going to help out Ayuk.
Correct.
I think Ayuk now, because I think Debo is going to, probably get some more looks in the Russian game. So I think Ayuk is another guy that might
get targeted a little more in the passing.
Yeah, he's going to get targeted more. So
okay. Who else, Ivan?
Honestly, that's all I got right now because that's all I'm focused on. To be honest, I would. Well, if we're gonna go one more. I would go if you haven't signed a Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver, I would do it.
Ooh,
I would just say, if there's, because I know there's some guys available in some of the leagues that I see, I would go after a Kansas City wide receiver. Just saying, either you want to keep him on the bench, or and for a special occasion or a certain game. I think any one of these guys could put up points because of the quarterback that they have on that team. So I would say, look for a Kansas City wide receiver.
Okay. All right. Claude?
Yeah. So again, we talked about Curtis Samuel. We already talked about him. You definitely want to try to grab
like where
him.
You're going.
Yeah. No, I don't even know where I'm going. What are you talking about?
Hey.
No, I like so I do like Robbie Anderson for the Panthers. I think Robbie Anderson's a guy that you can definitely still get in a lot of leagues. I think he's available, and he had a pretty good showing this past week.
Okay.
And I was shocked because I got DJ Moore and looked like Baker was looking at Robbie, and he had that long touchdown obviously, which helped. But that's a guy that you can look for on the waiver wire. I think we talked about Josh Palmer obviously. There's also Devin Duvernay from the Ravens.
Yeah, he had a huge week.
He had a huge week. Yes, huge week, and they're starving for a number one over there. So I think that could be a guy that you might want to look at.
Yeah.
You're
right.
So
okay.
Who you got?
Ivan, I got Ivan. Just to circle back to one of your dudes there. He's only what's his face? Your running back. His name eluded me as I went to say it. Jeff Wilson Jr.
Jeff Wilson, yeah.
He's only rostered in 20% of the leagues right now. So he's a guy that you could be able to go out and get, right? If it is a fab, okay, what do you feel comfortable with if you were gonna spend money on him, put in a bid? What are the percentage? Say it's $300 is your cap or your limit. What would you percentage wise? Would you go like 10%, like $30, or would you go like $75? Because I'm not necessarily against Claudio with how you handle the fab. You can either target one or two guys that you need, spend the big bucks, and just get the roster you want to try to ride out the rest of the season, and then you pick the waiver wire after Wednesday morning when everything's processed. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, how much money would you spend on him?
On a Jeff Wilson?
Yeah, right now. If you had Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson staring at you on your iPhone 14 Plus or whatever the fuck just came out. And I don't give a different number, if you're going to try to get him today. Whatever.
$1 million. Yeah. No, I mean, I would stay around that range. I wouldn't overpay. I wouldn't overpay. Like, I'm not going to get desperate or anything like that. If he doesn't come up,
would you do $100? Would you do?
If it took that, if it took 30%, I think I'd leave the cap at 30.
Okay,
right there.
That's fair. I agree with you. I think it's worth that play, especially in that offense.
Especially if he's not going to be starting for you. If he's going to be starting for you, then
he's going to be starting for the 49ers.
I know,
but so he's their RB1. No, I get that. I can see that, but I also see Claudio's side too. Like, if he's going to be on your bench, but if you had Elijah Mitchell in your starting lineup and you're like,
of course, if you had Elijah Mitchell, yes.
Right.
I mean, there was a dude in our fucking TTNL league. He spent like $180 on fucking J.K. Dobbins. I mean, the guy didn't even play. you know, like, I was like, Jesus. But anyway, sorry, buddy. I mean, Mr. Denny. But anywho, go ahead, Claude.
Yeah. No, I mean, for more, there's actually one other waiver wire pick at tight end, and I was shocked when I even found out this dude was listed at a tight end, Taysom Hill.
Yes,
for the Saints. I got him in one league, and I was shocked. And I started him, and I was like, I mean, he didn't, he had 2 touchdowns, so he didn't have a lot of catches and yards and this and that. But for him to be in a tight end, if you don't have one of the top echelon tight ends, I mean, tight ends you kind of stream. So pick this dude up. I mean, the dude can run, he can pass. What tight end can fucking run, pass,
and you get those points?
Of course you get those points. If he's your tight end and he throws a touchdown,
you get those points.
6 points in this league. You get points.
Yes.
So Taysom Hill is definitely, I think, a guy.
Good choice, man. I like that. He was on my list. I definitely feel you on that. He's only rostered in 12% of the leagues. So, I mean, that's a guy that you should be able to get your hands on. And it's not going to cost you a lot of money because I'm with you, Claude. Like, if you're streaming
cool, Ken. Listen, I don't remember if you told me. I believe you.
No one was listening.
So, CK, you were on.
You're just listening to those fire ass beats that he puts out.
He does put out fire.
That's right, baby. So. All right. My turn. Or Ivan, you got one?
No, it's you.
Oh shit. Okay. So, piggybacking, I'm gonna go with a guy that got injured coming in for Najee Harris. I think a guy to keep an eye on for more of like a stash, is a dude, because we just don't know what you're going to get, is Jaylen Warren. Harris is injured and Warren ended up taking over for him. He's only rostered. I mean, he's basically not rostered by anybody. And so you could go out and get him pretty much. It's going to cost you a little bit of money because of the uncertainty with Najee Harris. People are going to probably have the similar thought, just trying to make sure they have a backup if this guy goes out.
I wouldn't spend a lot on him, though.
No, I don't think so. But, if you're going to spend 5% of your $300 or, I think it's if you spend $25 to $30, not bad. That's 10%. But, and another guy is another stash guy to go, not against you, but Michael Carter, rostered in 2% of the leagues. I think not to play this week, but to look down the road. Is, you just with that running room and Zach Wilson's not there yet. People are just unwary of the offense and you don't know what you're going to get. So he's a guy that you could be a lottery ticket. I'm just saying, may be able to sneak him by on the last minute, a couple of bucks, or he might not even get picked. And lastly, Zach Moss. I think in Buffalo, he looked pretty good on Thursday. He looked quick. He looked pretty good, rostered in 6% of the leagues. So he's another guy. I think running backs are going to cost you more money just because the injury concerns and the way fantasy has been. Granted, there is the trend of, wide receivers and the way it's been kind of evolving.
There's always more wide receivers available. It's a passing league.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be more wide receivers that are going to put up some points. So yeah, running backs are definitely. But speaking of receivers, I have another receiver that I think people should try to grab.
Yeah.
Kyle Phillips, this kid on Tennessee Titans. This dude is only rostered 3% of the league. Dude had 9 targets, 6 catches, 66 yards. If you watch the game, kid made some sick catches too. They weren't just regular Joe Schmo.
Wide receiver 81. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I mean. When it comes to the waiver wire, everybody has different leagues. Everybody's, there's some leagues that
9 targets. You said,
he's and again, he's on a team who does not have a bona fide number one. I mean, Robert Woods is there, and he's technically their number one. But we'll see who Tannehill starts to connect with. And last week it was him.
Yeah. No, Tennessee, like the Titans, don't really have a true number one, do they? They don't know AJ Brown, no Julio, know anybody. So it's up for grabs. That's good. I like that.
If you're a projection guy too, he's projected for like 2.7 points, but I that doesn't mean anything. You got to look at the matchups. You got to take a look at the an aerial view.
Again, you could get them cheap. Yeah. So this is the thing. The waiver wire, obviously you got top guys you're going to spend a lot of money on, whatever. But you can get these guys cheap. If you have a spot on your bench, pick them up now, because if this dude goes off again next week, now forget about it. Now you could
trade him
double or triple, So
and then you trade him.
Yeah.
Or you keep him because you made the right move 2 weeks before everybody else did. And that's why you come here to Keep It in Fantasy to get these guys' names so you can fucking pick them up and fucking win some goddamn money, right?
That's right.
Shit, what are we doing? Sorry. We're not supposed to swear, right? This is on Disney.
Oh, yeah, that's a family show, but don't worry about it. It's all good. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap things up for this show.
Yeah.
We're gonna go get.
Do you want to take a few questions?
That's exactly what we're gonna do.
Wow.
My bad.
Let me go ahead and get into it. Let me lean into
squad.
it. Yeah, let's one step at a time. Let's go ahead and take some questions, Claude.
Yeah, go ahead, set it off.
All right. Well, for this one I just saw right here. Do you drop Tony Pollard? No, I don't think you drop him. I think. No. Yeah, I think we were talking about you probably sit. And unless the
production might drop.
The production might drop. I don't
think you drop the player.
No, definitely not. I mean, because he's even with Zeke there, he's still getting a lot of touches, a lot of snaps. And no, I definitely wouldn't. Again, I said this at the top of the show. It's week 1, and everybody overreacts just on teams of who won and who lost, but obviously with players, guys that you drafted high. And you have vested interest in them, whatever. Do not drop them after 1 week.
No.
So, if anything, trade them, but do not drop them. That'd be my advice. So there was
can I just add to that? Interject, Claudio. I'm sorry, Ivan.
No. Go ahead.
I've always looked at like a fantasy season and almost like in four seasons, four mini seasons, and you try to win. You break your season into 4, and you try to win each season. If you have more wins than you do losses in those four seasons, you should be making the playoffs. And then you try to win all those fucking games, and you may win some money. So that's how I've always looked at it. And so I panic halfway through the second week. You may see me dump some dudes or try to. I'm a big trade guy, but that's how I've always approached it. And to your point though, Claudio, you can't drop guys week 1. I mean, what the heck? I mean, it's just you have no idea. It's just you don't know yet. And the NFL, their teams don't know what they have until week 4 or 5. Shit.
Yeah, and it's 1 week. So remember, there's throughout the season, you have matchups, you have games, you have weeks where. Yeah. Whatever the game, the way the game flow is or whatever makes a guy not have a good game. So you can't make these judgments on 1 week, the first week. So you want to obviously, hold off dropping anybody too significant. We got another one here.
Thanks,
This
Ron.
is
I don't know if that's
pretty
a
good.
compliment, but
My draft was pretty sketch. Seriously, who should my RB2 and my flex be?
oh my
Singletary,
God.
Akers,
Team stinks.
Herbert, Madison, Boyd, MG3, QB, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs.
You must have an amazing wide receiver lineup because your running backs are pretty suspect. You got to start Singletary.
RB2, out of Akers. Yeah, I think you got.
I like Herbert though. I do, but I'd wait one more week. But I think Herbert's a guy you grab. I think you're gonna like your Herbert pick, and you'll probably start him later on. But I'd go,
especially in PPR.
Yeah, I'd probably go Singletary, even though I like Zach Moss and I thought he looked good. Out of those guys, I think Akers hurt. I don't know. I don't think he's back 100%. I don't.
Yeah, Henderson. Yeah,
Henderson is the guy there, right? Do we all agree Henderson's the RB1 there in LA?
Oh, yeah, even if Cam was healthy.
I don't know if
Cam's.
Cam's. I don't know if Cam's the Cam that we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't think he's that guy. I got Khalil Herbert on my bench in the TTNL league. Like I said, I'm not going to overpay for Jeff Wilson, but I think Khalil Herbert is an excellent fill-in. I think
that's a great.
He didn't have the receptions this past game. You know what I'm saying? But not really many Chicago Bears did. You know what I'm saying? But I think those are going to come, and then once those come, especially in the PPR league, he's just going to start racking up points for you. He could do it even if he gets 50 yards on the ground or 42 yards on the ground and then adds another 50, 60 throughout the year. Let's say even if he adds 40 throughout the year, maybe catches about 6-7 passes. I think that helps regardless. I think he could be a 12 to 13 point guy week to week.
Montgomery or Herbert?
Herbert. In PPR leagues. In PPR leagues.
Yeah.
I like him. I like him a lot.
Too. I just want to add to here because he's also one of the flex. I think it's obvious. For me at least, because I was saying Tyler Boyd's a start.
Oh shit! I took that comment down. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So Boyd, I would say, is your flex there. Random.
Yeah.
Half career.
How many guys in your league? Like how many?
I've never
seen
some of these guys. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Random.
How many teams in that league? I'm curious. With those type of players,
Random,
like either you had a pretty bad draft or, Well,
he's saying his RB2, so he probably did go high on receivers.
Yeah.
And so his RB1 is probably decent, and then those are his guys to pick for RB2. So
okay.
Who knows? I don't know if there's any other questions. There's other. Do I bench Montgomery?
We talked about this a few times already tonight, right? I think Montgomery's a tough play, right? What did he have? Last week he had 50 yards or 26 yards on. I just had it right in front of me. 26 yards on 17 carries or something like that for a 1.5 average. 17 carries for 26 yards, 3 catches on 4. Granted, it was a shitstorm. I just see the target shares being similar with him and Herbert. So I don't know. It depends on what you're starting him for.
Yeah, like I said, I like Herbert. I think David is. I'm not going to say he's a sit this week just because I don't think that Packers defense is anything special. But I think both David and Khalil complement each other so well. Like they could both do similar things. Like I think David's a special player. Khalil is great in his own right, but like I said, I think David could be a 15-point guy. I think Khalil Herbert could be like that 10 to 12-point guy as well. Like they could both be. It could be a two-headed monster for fantasy wise, and in real life shit. Like we saw how Khalil Herbert runs. He's not a shitty running back.
Well, look at what the Browns do.
He's not some.
Look what the Browns do. With
Kareem Hunt was a monster.
Chubb. Hunt and Chubb both. Put up.
Look what Getsy did in fucking Green Bay with what Hackett over there.
Let's hope that's what we have.
Dillon and Jones. That's the bet that we both win in that situation. Fantasy relevancy as well as Bears having a solid fucking dope ass running back room. I am all for that. So
as long as Getsy doesn't bring,
so did we answer the question? Do we bench Montgomery or start him?
Well, you answered the question. You would bench
What do you
Montgomery.
guys think? I
again, it depends on obviously who else you have. I mean, but if I wouldn't bench him. No, I wouldn't. He's too explosive. The dude is so talented. You know, especially listen. Last week was a shit show with the weather, right? So that it's hard to take and think that that's how the game and the usage is going to go. It wasn't ideal for passing. It wasn't, so I think Montgomery, I wouldn't bench him personally if he was, and he is on a couple of my leagues.
He did get more touches. He did get
Yeah.
the majority of the
touched him,
touches.
17.
So like I feel like
12.
that. Yeah, I feel like that's going to continue because he is the lead back. It's for like I said, just using me as the example because I have that empty spot now with Elijah Mitchell out. A guy like Khalil Herbert, to me, if I don't go out and get a guy like a Jeff Wilson, or if there's not a guy out there on the waiver wire that you can go out and get that you trust to be your running back to fill a hole, I'm good with Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but
David, I'm starting. Sorry, David, I'm starting.
Yeah, he's going. I mean, we're also listen. The pack, Dalvin Cook had 20 carries, 90 yards. So he had a decent game against the pack. I mean, I think that Montgomery can at least copy that against the pack. So I would start him.
Would you start Gabe Davis or AJ Dillon at the flex? I mean, Gabe Davis started where he left off last year, right?
Yeah, that offense is just explosive. The Bills' offense is just. I would go Gabe Davis. That offense is just too good to not start really anybody that you have in it, except for maybe McKenzie there. I think you got to put him in your flex for sure.
Yeah, AJ Dillon only was 10 carries, 45 yards, and a touchdown. So I mean, he had 5 catches for 46 yards. He had a decent day, but I think it, like you said, in that offense, you kind of have to go with Gabe, right? Like it just makes sense with that situation. The matchup wise, I think AJ Dillon going against Chicago. I may be a homer here, but I feel like the Bears defense they may have something brewing over here, and I think that may spell for not the best days for the running backs in Green Bay. I could be wrong, but that's just how I look at it. But I'm a big fan of Gabe Davis, and I think I'm all in. I drafted him in a few leagues, and I think you start Gabe Davis in this situation.
Yeah, he had 98% snap percentage. So he was a 98%.
He was on the field the whole game.
So he was on the field the whole game,
Yeah.
and it was, it wasn't even a game that they needed to really depend on the pass. So, if they get in a shootout, he's going to go, they're going to go to Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
But, so
Gabe.
So recap real quick. So start Montgomery. Ivan, you said, right?
Ivan starting Montgomery.
And what are you doing, Jackal?
I'm sitting Monty.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, we just got it on the record.
Yeah.
All right.
So I like this here. I definitely start Mooney all day long. I think Devonta Smith is the odd man out in that Eagles offense. I think it's A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert, and I like Mooney. That's just me. So just quick and easy. That's my take there.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think Devonta's the odd man out.
Yep.
Yeah, Mooney all day. He's gonna have a game. He's gonna show up.
I mean, you may want to do that if I were you, as we just talked and raved about Herbert. I think Ramondre over in New England may be more valuable.
He might end up being the only fantasy relevant player on that roster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, no, you have Harris. Like him and Harris are gonna.
Yeah,
Harris
but I think
Harris had 15
said
touchdowns last year. Like I think Smith is there. Rodemeyer's definitely going to be the newer guy, like the guy that they want to get more touches. But I think Harris is still going to be just as valuable. Maybe his touchdowns drop off, but
okay.
So
there was another question I liked. There's a couple of them. Where the hell did it go? You start them all. We talked about Tony Pollard.
Here's another one about AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones on the same roster. So if you start them, half point PPR, I also have Singletary and Cam Akers. Well, obviously can't play. Okay, so
Why?
yeah, I don't know why you can't play.
You could play them both at the same time. They both had big weeks last. I mean, one's RB12. I think the other one's RB17. I like you kind of shit. Aaron Jones is RB11, and you could start both of them in that offense. I think you drafted them for a reason. Why wouldn't you want to play?
I think he meant Cam. I think he meant Cam Akers.
Yeah, he can't play. So
because
pretty much
because of the bad performance this past week.
So pretty much, Paul, if you're saying you can only start 2 out of Dillon, Jones, and Singletary,
start them both.
Yeah, I think he's still. I mean, yeah, it's a toss up. I mean, I would Singletary can end up getting more points than Dillon, in my opinion. But again, facing the Bears, again, we're homers, but I do think we're gonna have a good game against them defensively too. So who am I to say start Dillon? So, but yeah, I think that's all he has to choose from. Maybe I think that's why he's saying that.
Okay, I got it. I misunderstood that, but yeah, I'd be okay with that for a game just to see. But you could go with Singletary but who are you going to sit? I mean, Jones had the touchdown last week. I mean, Dillon had the touchdown last week. Jones didn't. I think Jones only had like 7.6 points. Dillon had double digits.
I think if you're in a bind, like I said, if you're in a situation where you can't trust a Cam Akers or you have an injury, it's risk.
1 week,
you're
right?
running. Yeah, it's one risk. You are running a risk. But I think if both running backs perform, which both of them tend to do, like they both, I hate Green Bay, but I like their running back room. I like it's a really good running back room. I think that you could get away with it for like at least a week.
Okay.
So we got another one here, quick. I don't think this is even a question, honestly.
Yeah,
until Freiermuth. I mean, he had 10 targets.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude. I mean, I don't know.
His target shared. Pittsburgh is great. I just like him over there.
Obviously, had nothing. Which obviously, hopefully is going to change. But right now, you can't. There would be no. There'd be no reason to start Komet over Freiermuth.
Play New England. Projection for 10.1 points. Cole's projected in a PPR format, 8.7. You would like to think Komet has a bounce back, but yeah, man, I'm with you, Claudio. I think Pat Freiermuth is the guy. I just with what's going on in Chicago and with what's going on in Pittsburgh, you'd like to see you're going to see production out of the tight ends, but I think Freiermuth is the guy based on, fantasy relevance at this point. Komet's a pipe dream. Everyone was high on him coming into the season. And I'm going to use your excuse. It was a shitty fucking day on Sunday, so that's why he only got 1 target. But I still like Freiermuth going into this game against New England.
Yeah, and I like Freiermuth as well. And I'm not going to go ahead and nitpick and stick with the Bears. Well, I am going to nitpick, but we're not going to stick with the Bears. Going to wrap up here. There was a rainstorm last year against the Arizona Cardinals, and he was able to come up with some catches. Some of them he wasn't able to come up with. We can't see this for half the season and still be like, oh yeah, you know what, Cole Kmet, he has a lot of potential. At a certain point, this is who he is. Yeah. So he really needs to fucking step it up, not only for fantasy owners, but for us as Bears fans.
Yeah, I think he will.
We need to see it.
I think he will. Again, I think that game last week was just not like a normal game. So I think
I can't argue with you there, man. It fucking rained so I'm with you.
Yeah,
we'll give him another week. He gets a reprieve then,
Yeah, I mean,
okay, it's a good way to end it.
Yeah, I think we're good. Guys, great show.
Yeah, man.
Happy we got it in smooth this time. I know I was running late last week, and there was a lot
30 minutes.
There was a lot of things going here. It's just a little bit late. It was a couple minutes. I know a lot of things going on, but it was a great show tonight. Thank you to all the fans out there for all your comments, all your questions. Thank you for being interactive with us. We appreciate it. It's honestly, you guys make it fun for us. We get to go ahead and bounce ideas off of you. You're bouncing ideas off of us. It's a great time. We enjoy it. Guys, you have anything before we go ahead and close out? Nothing?
No, man. It was a great show.
Let's just look forward to another great week too. If you guys have questions, you can put it in the comment section of our show. and we'll check them out, and we'll answer some of those if we didn't get to any of the guys that you want answers on, and have fun and bear down.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely, bear down. Fuck the Packers. It's Packer week. I think we got a guest.
TTNL.
Yeah, I think we have a guest on tomorrow night. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. I think he has a fucking gold jacket too. What's his name?
Tomorrow night. Oh, is that what's his name? Brian.
Doesn't he have hair?
No,
yes, he does.
Oh no, he does now. Yeah, you're right. He does now. Yep.
And he wears number 54, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
My favorite player. Everybody thinks it's Rex. It's not. It's this.
We're changing our tune before he comes on. You hear him?
No, I never said he was my favorite player.
No, but we have Ryan Urlacher. Hey, we have Ryan Urlacher on tomorrow night.
Alan, you're the
100.
man.
We're going to have an amazing show. We're going to gear up as we approach the interview with Brian. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be talking football. We're going to be talking Packers. We're going to be talking the Bears, shoving it where, and we're taking it to Lambeau to fucking do our damn thing. And Phil and Shane and hopefully Cars and whoever else along with the Village Idiots here will be there tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys every Tuesday night, bringing you fantasy pointers, tips, jokes, try to win you guys some money at the end of the day, because there's some seriousness involved, because we do this not just for fun. Some leagues are free, but at the end of the day, we all would like to put in some money to win some money. Right, boys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Right.
No doubt. And one more thing before we leave, make sure you go to www.thetapeneverlies.com and become a patron.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get the greatest Bears content out there. DDP's pop-ups. We got pop-up shows. We got tape coming up. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you go to thetapeneverlies.com and become a patron, guys.
And you could be in this league. You could be in our league.
If you become a patron,
96
teams
next year. Let's do
96 teams next year. 137 teams.
I'll be a commission.
8,000 logos. All right, guys.
Right.
Next
boys,
week.
have a great night. Fuck the Packers.
Peace.
Fuck the Packers. Peace.
What's your fantasy? Keeping it fantasy. What's your football fantasy? Keeping it fantasy. What's your football fantasy? Keeping it fantasy. What's your football fantasy? What's your fantasy? Keeping it fantasy. What's your football fantasy? You come home after a long day, you need football in your life the TTNL way. You tap on your phone after fantasy play. Pause, not like that before you take it the wrong way. You have an idea what players to draft. Then tap on a beer like genuine draft. Study all the players, look close at the stats. A QB first, then a top running back. First you hear Cool Kennedy audio, then on your screen you see Jackle, Alvin and Claudio. It's a Take Never Lies production. They keep it fantasy with Ivan's porno production. Keeping it fantasy, what's your football fantasy? Keeping it fantasy, what's your football fantasy?